Well, I think the people that made that decision from their predetermined agenda, once the $350,000 was taken, I think only they would know best. But the reality is, from reading many of the messages, me reading some of the commentary, and remarks that have been made by various liberal talking heads, it was clear they did not want me on the debate stage. They did not want me, on the debate stage to ask questions, to put forward some of these progressive ideas, because they wanted to continue with the same status quo. They did not want me on the debate stage. They certainly did not want me on the ballot, and they wanted to complete the coronation of Mark Carney.
Just moments ago on CJD, that was Ruby Dalla, the now disqualified candidate for the Liberal leadership. Let's get Dimitri Soudas' take on that and what we saw last night with the candidates that were allowed to debate for the Liberal leadership. Dimitri, welcome back to the program.
Always a pleasure, Elias.
Okay, first things first. They disqualified Ruby Dalla. She finally shows up and does some media this morning after she's been disqualified. What do you think about what she had to say and the decision to keep her off the debate stage?
I would say, Elias, that it is blatantly obvious, and this is based on discussions that I have had with the Liberal Party of Canada. They simply wanted to find a way to get rid of her, whether it's justified or not. Why? Because they didn't want her to basically lay a glove or a punch on their golden boy, the front runner, Mr. Mark Carney. Initially, if you actually follow the story carefully, they made two accusations: irregularities in fundraising and foreign interference. They then issued an official statement backtracking on the foreign interference and basically resorted to an inability to even explain to her, because most of the donations happened through the website of the Liberal Party of Canada. So there's this one family or a group of 8, 10, 12 people that use the same credit card to pay for a donation to her campaign. If there was anything wrong with that, they could have simply refunded those donations. The objective was clear, and this is based on discussions that I'm having with folks actually responsible to organize this leadership race. They did not want her on stage. And if you look at, so last night, you saw the debate. They were all agreeably agreeing with each other, even though half the time they weren't understanding what one or the other was saying. Ruby Dalla was going to be the only one that was going to take most of them, if not all of them, especially Mr. Carney, to task. And they didn't want that. Why didn't they want that? Because then the Conservatives would have clipped them and turned them into campaign ads against the Liberal Party. So not very democratic as far as I'm concerned.
So, and we saw the results last week, as you mentioned, right? An agreement fest. There were levels of agreement. Je suis d'accord, complètement d'accord, tout à fait d'accord. So different types of agreement, but agreement nonetheless. I just want to ask you, for tonight, looking into the English debate, do you expect more of the same? Because I'll throw this at you. If I'm a candidate, if I'm Karina Gould or I'm Chrystia Freeland, I wouldn't have attacked on the French night. It's not the right night. Tonight's the real deal. I would save it for tonight. So do you expect that tonight it will be, I completely agree, or will we see at least some fireworks?
No, we won't. We will not see fireworks, and I'll tell you why. Mark Carney is going to win this race, and they all want to be in cabinet. They all want to be a part of the team. They all want to keep their limo drivers, with the exception of Mr. Bayless, who is not elected. And the key question I would want to ask him is, are you running in the next election? Because he was a Liberal MP from 2015 to 2019. He did not run again because Mr. Trudeau didn't put him in cabinet, and obviously he believed he should be a cabinet minister. So my question to Mr. Bayless would be, whether you win or lose this leadership race, are you committing to running in the next election? In terms of last night and in terms of tonight, what I actually saw is at least one of the four accepted and recognized that they actually knew Justin Trudeau. Didn't try and distance themselves as if they've never met him, deny his existence. And that was Karina Gould. She's the one who campaigned on the record of the Liberal Party of Canada over the last 9 years and said, we need to continue in this direction. As Ms. Gould said yesterday, all the other candidates, specifically Mr. Carney and Mrs. Freeland in many ways, they're trying to become a pale imitation of the Conservative policies.
Now, let me ask you, what's the use in these exercises? If they're all going to agree with each other to last night and tonight, is there anything to watch for? Is there anything useful that can come out of these debates?
Yes, there is. So last night, the big excuse as to why it didn't go well for any of them, especially for Mr. Carney, is because of the language barrier. And I've had journalists rank who was the most fluent in French, if we want to use the word fluent in this case. And I would say, obviously, Mr. Bayless, Karina Gould, and Chrystia Freeland battled for second and third place. And Mr. Carney was dead last in terms of his ability to speak one of the two founding languages of this country. So what am I going to watch for tonight? So last night, the excuse of the poor performance by Mr. Carney was the language barrier, his inability to speak or communicate in French. What I saw come through that is also a lack of experience, political experience. You got to look at the history of Canada. We have never, in the history of this country, elected somebody to be prime minister who has not served a single day in parliament as an MP. It has never happened. Zero political experience, zero experience as an elected official. So tonight, what I'm going to be watching is he going to be once again, like last night, hiding in the corner, hoping the moderator doesn't see him, or is he actually going to step up and be prime ministerial?
What if he hides? What if he doesn't perform well?
He can't. He can't.
It couldn't. But could it change anything if he can't?
I think if tonight, without language being a barrier, if the strategy is what it was last night, which is I'm hoping nobody sees me, let me pretend I'm an ostrich, it will have an impact.
It will have an impact.
You know, Elias.
So where do they go? Where do they go? Where do the votes go?
Well, he will still most likely win the Liberal leadership race. Yeah. But let me give you a specific example. So Mr. Carney promises, and last night he was clear on it, he promises to continue all of the recurrent spending programs of Justin Trudeau, be it the dental program, medical program, daycare program, you name it. So that spending, recurrent spending, continues. He also promises to cut taxes for the middle class. He also promises to increase investments for the military and infrastructure spending. He then goes on to promise that we will no longer have one budget, we will have two budgets. One of them called the operational budget, and the other one is going to be called the capital investment budget. And then he proceeds to say, when you invest, it's not spending, as if that money falls from a tree. So if he is unable, how are you going to balance the budget, maintain recurring programs that the current Liberal government has, cut taxes, reduce spending, increase investments? It's all over the map.
Let me ask you, Dimitri, just to wrap up here. I got to be quick. From the Conservative perspective, with them watching last night and them watching tonight, they also are looking at polls that are showing clearly a tightening, right, on federal polling if Carney is the guy. How are they viewing last night and tonight?
So I'll tell you how I view things. I don't know how the Conservatives are viewing things. This tightening is normal. Why is it normal? It was completely abnormal for the Conservative Party to have a 27-point lead over the Liberals. It was all the hatred, literal hatred towards Justin Trudeau that literally drove everybody to the Conservative Party. Where this tightening is happening now is the NDP is collapsing and the Bloc is losing votes. Elections matter. A week in politics is an eternity. This is far from over for either Pierre Poilievre or for Mark Carney. But it's going to be the sum of the mistakes that one or the other makes that will lead towards who will be the next Prime Minister of Canada. Elected.
Dimitri.
Not just appointed.
Yeah, that's right. The real deal election. Dimitri, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, Elias.
Political commentator Dimitri Soudas, former Director of Communications for Stephen Harper.